Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Wishlist. If you were expecting to hear Nick's voice, sorry to disappoint you. Or you're welcome. Take your pick. This video will feature titles from my personal wishlist, so if you're into games that are creepy, cozy, story-rich, and strange, today's your lucky day, because I have 5 of them for you to look forward to. First up is Neverway, a blend of horror, life sim, and action RPG developed and published by Coldblood Inc. with funding from Outer Sloth. The game is co-directed by Pedro Medeiros, the pixel artist behind Celeste, and it will also feature music by Disasterpeace, composer of the Hyperlight Drifter and It Follows soundtracks. After getting the classic Stardew Valley exposition, that is, quitting her dead-end job to become a farmer, Fiona's new life involves growing crops, crafting, fishing, fighting, and making friends. Oh, and she's also the immortal herald of a dead god, whatever that job description entails, and spends a lot of time searching for a nightmare realm that's leaking into reality. In a Reddit post from a few months ago, Medeiros paid tribute to one of the major inspirations behind Neverway. "Discovering fear and hunger really changed how I see horror in games," he wrote. The way Fear and Hunger pushed the limits and went where most horror games wouldn't, along with its deep world lore, greatly influenced how we developed Neverway's atmosphere and narrative. I don't know about you, but a Fear and Hunger-esque farming sim is so far up my alley that it's practically knocking on my front door, holding my mail that accidentally got delivered to its house because my address really confuses shipping companies for some reason. A release date for Neverway has yet to be announced, but the game will be playable on PC and potentially some consoles. Next on the list is I Nema, a psychological horror game developed and published by Ho Games. That's capital H, capital O, exclamation point, games, consisting of brothers Jeremy and Alvin Ho. Honestly, if I wasn't already sold on this game's concept alone, the fact that it's made by a pair of brothers would be enough to pique my interest. A few of my favorite indie titles were made by sibling duos, and I'm looking forward to seeing if I Nema will join their ranks. The premise of I Nema is both simple and strange. You must convince your mom that you really are her daughter, Nema. Are you Nema? Well, you don't actually remember. Either way, your goal is to escape the dimly lit basement in which you're being held captive until you can pass your mother's tests and prove your identity. To do this, you interact with your environment, uncover words and concepts tied to the objects around you, combine them in your brain, and use them to speak. Can you get your mom to trust you? What happens if you can't? It's a neat concept rooted in some heavy themes that, based on my perusal of various comment sections about the game, are unfortunately more relatable than you might think. The game's UI and aesthetic reminded me a bit of Phoenix Springs, another Cryptic adventure game I enjoyed last year, so I'm excited and a little terrified to discover the disturbing secrets I Nema is undoubtedly hiding. A release date for I Nema hasn't been announced yet, but it will be playable on PC. There's also a demo currently available on Steam. The Seance of Blake Manor is a supernatural detective mystery developed by the aptly named Spooky Doorway and published by Raw Fury. Inspired by Irish mythology and the spiritualist movements of the Victorian era, the game follows Detective Declan Ward as he investigates the disappearance of a woman named Evelyn Dean. He must interview suspects and potential witnesses, search the titular Blake Manor for clues, solve environmental puzzles, and expose the culprit before it's too late. The Steam page notes that in the Seance of Blake Manor, time is your most valuable currency, since Detective Ward has to be in the right place at the right time to catch critical events pertinent to the investigation. Personally, I find this aspect of the game very intriguing, since most of the detective games I'm familiar with allow the player to work at their own pace and often don't advance the story before certain puzzles are solved. I'm especially curious to find out what the consequences for flagrant time mismanagement are. And I will find out, trust me. I've always loved a good Halloween caper, and Spooky Doorway looks poised to deliver a compelling one. For now, the release date and supported platforms for the Seance of Blake Manor remain a mystery. Grave Seasons is a narrative farming sim with a terrifying twist, developed by Perfect Garbage and published by Blumhouse Games. After getting the Stardew Valley Prison Break Edition exposition, that is, escaping jail to become a farmer, your new life involves growing crops, crafting, fishing, mining, and making friends. Oh, and there's also a supernatural serial killer terrorizing the town, and it's up to you to investigate the murders and protect the next would-be victim. As always, I'm looking forward to obsessing over my farm layout, romancing the most misanthropic but charming bachelor or bachelorette I can find, and being 10 times more productive virtually than I will ever be in real life. However, what I'm most excited by is the prospect of a farming sim with a robust, branching narrative. According to the game's Steam page, everything you do, or don't do, will affect how the story plays out. A cozy game with horror elements and tangible narrative consequences? Sign me up immediately. Seriously, between Neverway, We Harvest Shadows, and now Grave Seasons, my wishlist has become full of the sort of spooky farming sims I've always dreamed of playing. Once again, there's no release date for this one yet. However, I can inform you that Grave Seasons will be playable on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Last on this list is Schrodinger's Call, a visual novel developed by Acrobatic Chiramanjako and published by Shueisha Games. Like I Nema, it's a text-based adventure that begins with the main character waking up in a strange room with no memory. As far as I can tell, though, that's about where the similarities end, because Schrodinger's Call seems a lot more wholesome despite the inherent spookiness of its core concept: communicating with lost souls. You play as Mary, the last ear to listen, the last voice to speak. Using a mysterious phone, you connect with souls stuck between the lands of the living and the dead, unable to pass on due to the regrets they cling to. By choosing the words you wish to say on each call, Mary can save these souls and advance the story. The unique art style is what first caught my eye, and I was pretty much sold after reading the first 2 sentences of the game's description on Steam. If the story at the heart of Schrodinger's Call is as bittersweet as it seems, I'm looking forward to making tons of telephone calls to sad strangers. Which is a sentence I've never said before and will almost certainly never say again. Schrodinger's Call is set to be released for PC sometime in 2026. There's also a demo currently available on Steam. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wishlist, which was made possible thanks to recommendations from Ludonarracon 2025, my former coworker Jason, and YouTube commenters Snake in the Garden and Dipolar Apathy. They put these games on my radar, and now I'm putting them on yours. It's like an infectious disease that only affects people with cool taste in video games.